Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know our co-host, John. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey everyone, I'm doing okay, thanks.
So earlier, me and John have been talking, and tonight what we want to talk about is current events, about what is going on now, and also what is also going on with uh,
Israel.
Israel and and Palestine with Hamas and everything. But first, we sent the battle group over there. And I know a lot of this is kind of triggering a lot of veterans, especially Desert Storm vets, like, what is going to end up happening. And so, and to me, it makes me antsy. I can't even watch the news because I'm getting so angry about it. But before we get into that part, why I got angry about it is a few of my friends, their kids are being sent over there into the battle group right now, into the strike force, as they're calling it. And and John was asking me a lot, hey, what is it about? What is the strike force? Well, back then I know we weren't called strike force. Well, I think we were just called a battle group. And so, like, if Seventh Fleet sent over, like, the U.S. Independence or something like that, it's basically aircraft carrier, battleships, fast frigate, supply ships. So everything you would need for ships out there to replenish, to have missiles, protection of the aircraft carriers. I mean, everything. Back then, they also would send out battle group, battleships. But I don't know if we have any battleships left. I don't think so. So let's, and it's really neat because when you see them going and they're like formation. They're, steaming straight ahead. And most of
Well,
them now are nuclear powered, I believe. I don't know if we have any more steam ships. And I like mine have boilers and everything on board. But when all this came up, it started making me think about, especially knowing that I have friends who have kids that are going over there. We're on the other side of the coin. We're now worried about the kids who are going over there, what's going to possibly end up happening. And
yeah,
what's really neat though, and I think it's kind of in everybody's back of their mind. Remember the care packages we used to get?
oh yeah, lots of care packages.
Right. And you would get them from elementary schools. I got some from my mom's workplace, and I got a lot from my parents. My sister would send me some. So it started making me think maybe that needs to start coming back up. Let these soldiers and sailors that are headed over towards the Middle East know that, hey, you know what? We care about you. We want y'all to know that we're thinking of you. And especially for Desert Storm vets, when them guys go out, they're leaving moms behind, dads behind, brothers, sisters. And I really start thinking more about this because I've been to 2 funerals this weekend, or this whole week, the last 2 days, and time's short. And
Mhm.
so, and then with everything going on in Israel and the funerals, it just really started getting to me, and I'm just like, you know what? Don't let anything be unspoken. Speak your piece. Tell people, whoever you offended, that, hey, man, I'm sorry for what I've done. I mean, I got a lot of apologizing to do. I'll start with you, John. I apologize for making fun of your bald head.
It's okay, man. No, I get it. So humor me, Kevin. Because we were talking about care packages. Now, I understand how when you're on the ground, as opposed to being out at sea like yourself. How does the Navy handle it? Because you guys, I would assume you guys are limited, and correct me if I'm wrong. How, because we've got tons of, we got like, it would seem like a couple, I don't know, couple football fields full of care packages, totes that are 4 foot high. How does the Navy handle that sort of thing?
It's really cool because what they do is, I don't know how it got shipped, but the only way we knew about it is when we saw these big orange, red bags. I mean, huge, flying on the helo, underneath the helos, and they drop them off at the ship, and you're like, holy shit, we got mail call. And so,
Okay.
you would get letters from, if you had a girlfriend, care packages from people. And what was neat was they would come out on the 1MC and say mail call. So everybody would run up there and wait for their names to be here, and you'd be, Johnson, Stevens, Simon, and everything. And you would get either one letter or you would get, a care package and about 5 letters. And so go ahead,
Well,
John.
I just think it's interesting because I know that is definitely, without question, one of the things that really kept my spirits high is going through. Now, my wife sent me. I mean, she was religious about sending me something every day. I got something in the mail, literally every day. Maybe one day here and there got missed. But I was thinking, as we're talking about this, our government, as we're speaking, and Israel doesn't want our military on their ground fighting their battle. They just soon, as it's been said, we're going to cover them, make sure they got what they have. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be a great thing? I mean, all of the militaries around the world, if you're fighting side by side, as we did with Israel and a lot of other UN countries at the Gulf, send Israel, care packagers. Got to be a way to send those men and women, because there's a lot of men and women in there, as ours, but they're required, their men and women are required to serve. And I don't know how many countries, I think it's a limited amount of countries that expect that. But in Israel, there's some exceptions, but you do have to serve. You're required. It's kind of like if the draft were to come up, which,
Right.
you're required, men and women there. And I think, wouldn't it be neat to support those Israel men and women by getting care packages from the U.S.? Because we're the U.S. We're huge, right? And
Care
we support
packages.
them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about care packages. The one thing that I would never do is envelopes and paper, because you can get that up at the ship store. Send maybe a little bit. The biggest thing was bubble gum.
Oh,
Damn.
bubble gum, really? Okay.
Man, shit. I would get them little boxes of chiclets. Oh, hell yeah. And then, I'd get big red bubble gum, Wrigley's bubble gum. Oh, it was so badass. The other thing I thought was really cool is, people who smoke or chew tobacco, they would get that also. But the other thing that I really found neat is they would find really close friends to you, and then they would all write a little something on a letter.
Yeah.
Which was badass. The other thing is I remember, and me and you have been talking about this. Remember the elementary kids that would write us?
Oh yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say millions of kids wrote us out there, millions of them. And I thought that was so badass. And our captain would say, everybody's going to take at least 3 or 4 pieces and you're going to write them back. If they took the time, you better damn near take the time.
Sure. Yeah. And we did. We just had to make sure we could get our hands on some stamps so we could mail it back.
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing is send stamps, But a lot of people now can email, but care packages to me are important. I think for any time anybody goes out, care package is probably the coolest shit.
Well, it's more personal.
It is
personal. It's anybody. Anybody. I understand that today people text, but you don't know the men or the women there. You don't know them personally, so I don't know how it was when we were there. I don't know what our U.S. citizens were given information wise, if they didn't have somebody they knew personally over there. I don't know how the information. Okay, here's the companies that are here. Here's the address. Send it. And you got to
I can
now.
remember everything that was sent in my care packages. That's one thing
Really?
I can tell you. I can remember because it meant so much to me. Oak Ridge Elementary sent me the coolest stuff, man. I mean, they sent me pencils, pens, they paper, bubble gum, tons of bubble gum. I never ran out of bubble gum. All kinds of stuff. And they would send me little things like, I could wave in the air if I'm bored, like little games or something like that. It was really neat. I was like, man, there's some damn good care packages. So now,
I'm thinking as we're talking about this, I'm thinking in today's world, yes, the gums, you mentioned chiclets, the various types of gums, the consumables that you have to unwrap. Now, everybody likes homemade stuff, but if it's coming from your family, that's one thing, and everybody means well, but you don't know
send
how long it's.
cookies. Son of a bitch. Don't send cookies.
No, don't send cookies.
I'll tell you why, because it could take 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, I'm like, oh shit, them things are green.
Yeah. You don't want to send anything that's perishable. Not like that.
Right. But in candy bars, don't send them there. Hard candy, great. But anything else, I mean, shit, some hard candy melted. But so let's jump into the next thing. I want to get that because every Desert Storm veteran, every Afghanistan veteran, Gulf War, I don't care who you are, they remember the care packages.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I want to talk tonight to each and every one of y'all is because I know we're all listening to the news. What's going to happen next? You got a war going on over Russia. You got Israel now at war. This can turn into a bigger thing, and it's scary. It is scary.
It is scary, yeah.
And they signed the draft to where men and women now can be drafted. If y'all didn't know that, go look it up. I'll be
Actually,
damned.
I don't think I was aware of that.
Yeah, I'll be damned if my daughter's going. I'm telling you right now. I'll take her place. I'll put a wig on. Hey, whatever it takes. I'll put a bra on, whatever I gotta do. I'll go in her place. But it starts making you think. It made you think about I just start remembering all the times I was unwrapping, all this and everything. It's amazing how it brings back memories. But here's the part that pisses me off. Why go out and freaking parachute into a party that kids are out dancing around, a rave party, they were calling it, and start taking the kidnapping, killing.
Well, so clearly this has been, the Hamas evidently has prepared for this for years, evidently. And like you and I were talking before we went live, because I'm not a psychologist, I fail to understand how any human could just randomly start killing people. It's bad enough to kill an adult, let alone a baby, And I mean, I understand that our news media shows us what's going to get them the most views, the most dramatic, which unfortunately is very most unpleasant stuff that you can think of. That's what's going to get the most views. And they're going to show you, like you and I talk, Kevin, our media, doesn't matter who you're listening to. I actually go to BBC, maybe Sky News or something like that, as opposed to our news broadcast.
Right.
They're all going to tell you what they want you to hear. You already know it's okay. They're told before they can go on, you can tell them this, you can say this, and you can say this. It's already edited,
But John, they're going to release this weekend pictures of what they did to all the children and all the kids out there. They're going to put it all on social media. So if you have kids, grandkids, tell them do not get on social media. I mean, it's terrible. And I don't care who you are. When you sever a head off of a kid or a baby, screw you. I'm done. That shit. 25
Put
Americans.
a bullet in their head and be done with it. I have no
25 Americans that were
Yeah.
killed over there. We got some that are kidnapped. Germany. I watched a special that a girl from Germany, they showed her picture, beautiful young lady. They just took her and twisted her. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of human beings do this kind of shit? You know what? And look, I don't care what your religious preference is. That's your damn business. I don't give two shits.
Mm-hmm.
I know what mine
Right.
is. I know I'm good with God, and I'll tell everybody that. But why? Why go over there and do this stuff? Go after the damn leaders. If y'all are that proud, y'all want to kick ass and y'all want to be tough, go after the leaders. That shit doesn't happen. I don't know why. In every war, if you really think about it, in every damn war, they don't go after the politicians. They don't go after leaders. If you're pissed, go after the damn leaders. Don't go after the
And
innocents.
one of the things that I found interesting, I forget which news organization it was. I think kudos to them. Artificial intelligence and how a lot of people, you and I might look at our phones and look around. You might look at TikTok. You might not look at TikTok. Where I'm going with this is don't believe everything you see, you know. And some of the news agencies are doing a really good job at saying, no, this was put out. There's so many hits on this. This was false, and it was done this. When you see something and it really aggravates you, if you're able to, now a lot of us vets, it brings about a lot of unpleasant memories. I also have to walk away. There's only so much I can take. My wife can sit there and watch it for hours and hours. I don't have that threshold. I've got to walk away. But verify what it is that you're seeing. Even if just because it's on a major news broadcast station, unless it's live, and even then, I'm call me. I don't believe everything I see. Let's put it that way.
Well, okay. So, and here's one. So they were talking about, oh man, they 2 days before the war started and all that, Biden gave 75 million. Number one, guys, I don't like Biden. I don't like any of them. I don't like, you know what? We need a fresh start of freaking everybody. But that didn't happen. It happened in 2021. So, I mean, we need a fresh start in politics. Get rid of the two-party system. We need to stop being in wars. Everybody around the world just needs to get the freaking along. How is it? Okay, so if I run across an atheist and he tells me he's an atheist, I believe in God, we're not going to start fist fighting.
No.
So why the hell? Just leave people alone. Nobody can leave the people alone.
Well, unfortunately, like you said, Kevin, I would never hold anybody against the religious or political views. That's it. Our country is free, and we have the right to decide who we like. What we hear. We can agree to disagree, but a lot of countries don't. The people don't have that luxury, and our youth. Even I've explained that. I work with high school students, and I've been trying to think to myself all day long. I was going to go talk to the history teacher and say, what are you teaching them? Are you teaching them current events? Because I have no idea, because I haven't talked to them, But I'm like, okay, what better opportunity for me as a veteran? Now, I can't give them hearsay. I can only base it off of my knowing information.
But will they let you talk to the kids about it and stuff?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't know. So I got to run that past the principal and whatnot, make sure I'm okay with that.
Well,
so I don't have that answer.
I tried that for our ISD. I won't say what ISD is. I sent them a message and I told them who I was, and told them I would like to go in and talk to the kids about Desert Storm. What really happened over there? Not the bullshit they read in these books, but what what really happened. Right. Nothing. Quiet. And I'm over there going, see, they don't want to teach the kids the truth. Let's don't talk about just the war. Let's talk about what happens after the war. Let's talk about how the veterans are treated at the VA, or how they're not getting proper disability, or treatments. Let's talk about that. Let's start telling the kids that shit and let the kids start going, you know what? We need a whole new system.
Yes, yeah, right. And so now that you got me thinking about that, so I'll go in tomorrow and I'm going to make sure that I address that, because I don't want to say something that's, going to get me in trouble. I don't want to do anything that's going to offend the kids
Well,
or upset the people that I'm,
I would ask before
know,
I do, especially in any
right.
public school, because they're all stupid ass people that run it. Oh man, I'm
Well,
telling you, man, I just do not get why people cannot get the hell along. I don't. It just shocks me.
well,
And
we're older, Kevin, and
but I also know that they're posting. There's a state of emergency that tomorrow, Friday the 13th. That now I did watch the guy in New York City that talked about, it needs to be in every Muslim religion needs to be in every home in the United States. That shit ain't gonna happen. But
oh,
so and but he's inciting. They don't charge them. They don't do anything. This is the problem with society today. Is that I mean, you can go after all the Trump supporters you want to. January 6th, they're comparing Israel attacks to 9/11. They're comparing January 6th to 9/11. Sit your asses down and have a complete conversation without beating the shit out of each other. It's so easy. I mean, me and John will not always get along, but we'll work things out. Jason, who's on here, me and him probably won't see eye to eye, but we'll sit down and have a conversation. That is what's wrong with our system. And that's what's wrong with the VA system. You could tie it all in together, because you go to VA, you're just as pissed at the VA people. You like to beat the living tar out of them sometimes because they don't know what our treatments are. Sit down and talk to them. Will it help? I don't think so. I'm so frustrated with society right now. Y'all need to wake up, man. Open the door up for somebody.
Well,
and tell them
even
have a great day. Shit.
Like, even on the news, I mentioned the news. The news is about they want views. They want to say, well, a lot of them will say we're unbiased. Well, that's not true, but that they want to tell you it like that. And they had one person on who happened, I forget what religious factor, and I don't care. You believe who you believe. That's your prerogative. But this individual, he was in Israel and got their own flight back a long way around to the United States, because they live in the United States. And he goes, well, my government let me down. And I'm like, well, wait a second here, buddy. You figured out how to get back, but you're living in the United States, but you want to piss pound the very country that that you're living in, and you have all your freedoms. They want to talk us up and then piss down our leg on the same conversation. I'm like, no, that isn't how it works, bud. Be grateful that you had a free and open society to come to, unlike where you're leaving from. So don't. I hate it when people want to, oh, poor me. I'm not getting back because my government is letting me down. Things don't happen overnight. My wife asked me, she goes, how is it we can get things in country so quickly, but it took us how long to get men in Ukraine? And I told my wife, I said, hold on now. I said, we got stuff here again. Our news agencies tells us what they want. Our government tells the news agencies what they want them to tell us. We can get stuff, as you very well know, we can get stuff to where we need it. What, within 24 hours?
Yeah. And here's the other thing, John, is, when you go onto these platforms, even watching us tonight, you may not agree with me. I don't give two shits. You may not agree with me. It's my opinion. It's John's opinion on what he believes. I may not believe it. I give two shits. The only thing I know is stop killing innocent people. Yeah. If you're pissed off at the government, go after the government. Don't go after the freaking innocent people. And let me tell you, if you decide you want to come inside of America and you want to do harm, and you know what, y'all may have a few guns. We got millions. So I don't understand. I don't get it anymore. I'm just like, it's just, I throw my hands up in the air and be like, you know what, society, y'all need to wake the hell up. Everybody tomorrow needs to wake up and go, you know what, I need to change my life. If you're this screwed up in the world, you need to wake up and go, you know what? Because I don't know how the hell in hell half of this world lives with each other. I mean, lives with themselves.
No, there's a lot of people with a lot of, unfortunately, I like, moving along with the times. Everybody's carrying around a cell phone, right? You got the vast majority of people have all kinds of information. It's information overload, and it's a whole lot of garbage mixed in with a lot of fun and other stuff.
Yeah,
it's information overload. And our young people, it's too much. They don't necessarily they don't really realize it's too much, but it's too much.
Where do you think the depression is coming from? They claim it's PTSD. I'm sorry, that's not PTSD. Okay, it's information overload, and it's making you depressed because you watch it all damn day long, and that's all you're thinking about. I'm not going to watch the news. I listen to it. People come in and be like, Kevin, man, what do you think about Israel? Well, they're pissed, and they're going to handle what they need to handle. Do we need to be involved? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we need to be involved.
25 Americans so far dead. What, 17 or something like that missing?
They keep on moving the numbers.
That's right.
I will give, and I'm really frustrated with our own government because, I mean, I wish, but unfortunately, Kevin, it is, like you made a comment earlier, our government, doesn't matter what side of the fence they're on, you have a job to do. Under the circumstances, with what's going on in our world, you can't elect somebody to the Speaker of the House. An entire party of people can't come to a decision
right
when we have things that we have to do. I mean,
and that's
think about this next time everybody's voting. When you're voting, think about what's going on now.
And that's why I jumped to independent. I'm over there going, y'all got to be freaky cow. I was Republican. I'll be honest with y'all. I have conservative values. I just do. But also I have liberal values. I mean, one party's, they're both one party's to left extreme, other party to the right is extreme. Yep. Nobody can get along anymore. So
just be independent and vote for who it is that you. I mean, I'm like you, Kevin. I'm more independent. I will say that I voted for both parties before, and I've regretted on occasion who I voted for. I mean, I have. Right. And but that being said, vote for who you think. But I mean, here we are. A lot of things have happened in the last week or last 2 weeks. Some of the politicians still want to bitch and moan about, well, I do this, or I do this, or he needs to do this, or this needs to happen right now. Well, come together. They're talking it over, but it's like, okay, you're just doing it to hear yourself on TV so you can get a few extra hits on TikTok. I mean,
and stop wearing that freaking pin with the American flag if your ass ain't going to take care of the vets. That's exactly how I feel. I know I mean, 100%. My senator, if I see him, I'm going to chew his ass. I don't think he should be wearing a pin.
Yeah, if you're not going to support the troops, and of course it's election year, so they're going to all, and we got Veterans Day around the corner. And of course, most politicians, because they want you to hear that they support their veterans. Well, listen to what they do throughout the year. And of course, I'm sure there's a place you can get all the information on who voted for what, why,
Right. But that's why I wanted to talk about this tonight, is because it's weighing. It's weighing on my mind. It's got to be weighing on almost every Desert Storm vet or Vietnam or anything.
Every veteran's mind.
Every veteran that's out there in the community, I know it's weighing on your mind. Is your kids going to be called up? Nobody knows. It's your grandkids. Only thing I can say is, man, just hug one another, love one another. But before we go off on getting off the air, I also want to talk about one other thing I think is pretty damn cool. Do you know they have trading cards for Desert Storm vets?
I had no idea. No idea.
I was like, who in the hell's in the trading cards? Am I in there? Are you in there? I mean, is it Saddam that's in there? I mean, who's in the damn trading cards? But I thought it was pretty cool. They had a bobblehead. They have bobbleheads at Desert Storm. And I mean, I was looking online about all kinds of Desert Storm shit, but the trading cards got me the most because I'm like,
yeah,
maybe they're tanks and ships and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to buy a damn pack and show everybody on there. That's what I think I'm gonna have to do.
Because actually, now you got my curiosity up. I'm gonna have to look pretty hard into that myself. Because what a unique thing to pass on to the grandkids here is trading cards from back when I was deployed to the Gulf War.
Jason's got a box of them. He goes,
"Oh, really?"
Yeah, he goes, "I'll have to unload it." Jason, you got to tell me what the hell's on there. I mean, really, truly, they should have put my face as like the most valuable. But back then, because I was so darn cute and adorable.
Oh, God.
Okay, I'm full of shit. But anyway, I thought I was like trading cards. What? So maybe it's about tanks, and maybe you could get a picture of generals, Colin Powell. You know, it's worth all of them.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So, all the veterans that are listening, or if you are fellow vets, I think it does us all good, especially if you happen to catch the news, and it's gonna trip a lot of triggers in our heads. Go talk to a fellow vet. Go talk. Listen. Listen to us is one thing. Talk in person to a fellow vet and help yourself work through it. If you have a therapist that you're seeing for issues, make sure you talk to your therapist because you don't want to. Because it's very easy, and I know myself. I'll be going to see my own therapist next week. And I look forward to because there's some things going on my head that I have a hard time dealing with, and she's always real good about giving me a counterpoint, get me squared on because it's we all got a lot of cobwebs or we'll get a lot of misfires going on because
I could twist you.
Things.
I could get them cobwebs out of there. Poke a stick up your nose, start rubbing that damn thing. But I mean. And then you mentioned that I saw one lady who did a post saying that she's not sleeping, she has anxiety, and these are people who were never in the military. People are really stressed out.
Yeah,
love one another, and everything will be perfectly fine. You know, go buy some Desert Storm trading cards, and and also there is a Desert Storm anthem. I didn't know if y'all knew that neither. I just found that out today. Why in the hell they didn't play it on my ship? I have no idea. But there's a Desert Storm anthem. We're not going to play it on here because we don't have permission. But once we do, I'm definitely going to bring the guy on who wrote it. I want to bring him on. I want to talk to him about, you know, it's a badass video. So that's really cool, man, that they made it. And Lee Greenwood,
check it out.
Lee Greenwood has a song. Well, his number one hit. You know that's played all the time. God Bless you, USA.
Oh yeah, sure, right.
In the Desert Storm version, and so it was really neat. Go look that stuff up, and then it's really neat. And there's a song. If anybody out there can find it for me, it was like red is for the blood, blue is for the bruise, white is for these eyes that fight for me and you. And that was written during Desert Storm. And that right there was a really badass song. I remember hearing it when I got back and I started crying. I just thought that was the neatest thing, seeing all the yellow ribbons. Let's start tying yellow ribbons around our oak trees, man. Let's start doing everything to show support for our troops and our veterans. Does veterans have a color?
good question. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I camouflage. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, that's an interesting
maybe
question.
wouldn't say camouflage or anything like that, but
right, because that would be specific to to one branch or the other.
right.
You know?
But
So,
I think I know yellow is put out when we're at war and for troops to come home safe.
well, I hope and pray, Kevin. You and I have talked. I hope and pray that it that I think that Israel probably will go in, and I hopefully will they eliminate Hamas. I'm sure that will be in the intention. But like I told my wife, I said it's kind of like, you know, sometimes you have to, if they're shooting at you, they're the bad guys, right? But if they're trying to blend in, you know, if you go in and all of a sudden people start disappearing, does that mean Hamas disappeared? Probably no. They just gave up and blended into the public, you know. But I just hope. I hope
these
this
are
stays
different
contained.
wars, man. I mean, it's
Right.
different wars. I mean, even our war
Yep.
was a little bit different. Afghanistan was a little bit different. I mean, you're and everything. But I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. John, thank you as always for
Yeah.
coming
Well,
on
thank
and being
you.
my
You know,
my host in the great state of
always a pleasure.
Iowa.
Always a pleasure.
And everybody who's listening out there, I really appreciate y'all listening. And I had to vent about tonight for current events, but you know, just be kind to one another. And everybody around the world, just hug each other, man. It's time. It's time for us to unite and stop fighting. Let's unite instead of fight. There you go. I coined that phrase right now. Y'all have a great night, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to Go For Side Effects. If you have a story or you would like to share or just come on with any comments or questions, please email me at kevinsimon@goforsideeffects.com.